Linda is the program officer in early math at the Heising-Simons Foundation and holds a PhD in education and an undergraduate degree in child and adolescent development. Her primary areas of research are early mathematical development and teacher beliefs. Her experience includes 14 years working directly with children and families as a teacher and director of an early childhood program, research on preschool math interventions and teacher professional development in early language, literacy, and mathematics, and the development of elementary school math curricula in the U.S. and internationally. Dr. Platas serves on the expert panel that developed the early grades mathematics assessment, which is currently being used by the World Bank and USAID in multiple developing countries. She works in the U.S. and internationally to promote quality early childhood education. Linda Platas.
Thank you. Aunt Fernald did this amazing job with the clicker and turning, so I'm going to see if I can follow up with that. Is this it? Oh. Okay. Okay, let's try this. So this morning I'm going to be talking about early mathematics, and I'm going to be talking about two aspects of it, and the first is why it matters, and then the other is approaches to supporting it, and then I'm going to wrap it up with a take-home message, actually probably a couple take-home messages. I'm going to start with some research, and I'm going to kind of go in an arc from preschool to college, so you'll kind of see that. So in 2007, Duncan and his colleagues decided to look at the predictors of later academic achievement. And Greg Duncan is an economist who studies families in poverty, but he decided to look at this data, and it was a lot of data. So 6 longitudinal data sets. So this was from the UK, Canada, and the United States. Thousands and thousands of children. And what they were looking for were predictors of later academic achievement at 3rd and 5th grade. So we know, and especially Greg knows, that mother's education, socioeconomic status, and other variables really do affect later academic achievement, but in this room, we don't have a lot of control over that. So he wanted to look at those variables beginning at those skills and abilities going into kindergarten, which of those affect later academic achievement. So this is probably no surprise to anyone in this room. What this is these are predictors of math achievement at 3rd and 5th grade. And kindergarten entry math is a predictor of later math. I mean, we didn't need thousands of millions of dollars to figure this out. All of you probably could have said, yeah, if they're really good in math early on, this will probably predict how they do later on. Kindergarten entry reading is also a predictor of later math achievement, as is attention. What really astonished these researchers, and then many in the field who learned about this research, is that if you look at later reading achievement, kindergarten entry math is just as predictive as kindergarten entry reading. And attention is also predictive. So here's a graph with everything together. So you can see on the left-hand side, there's predictors of math achievement, and on the right-hand side, predictors of reading achievement. So this doesn't mean that early reading isn't important, but it does mean that early math is just as important as early reading. Oh, that way. It doesn't help if you point it at the screen. So moving forward, so going from pre-K, we're now going to look at entering pre-K through grade 8. So this is looking at mathematics achievement by quartiles. So the lowest quartile is in pink. The middle 2 quartiles are that line in blue, and the highest quartile is that line in red. So as you can see, as time goes by, that gap that exists at the beginning of the kindergarten year widens as time goes by. So going up and looking at high school completion and college attendance, these are the effects of persistent problems in different domains. So as you can see, it looks at math, reading, antisocial behavior, inattention, and anxiety. So persistent problems, what the researchers meant by that was being in the bottom quartile at ages 6, 8, and 10. So as you can see, the two that seem to make the biggest difference here in high school completion and college attendance is early math, or not early math, but math throughout the grades. If you have persistent problems in that, it results in a 13% reduction in high school completion and a 34% reduction in college attendance. All of these affect both high school completion and college attendance, but as you can see, math and antisocial behavior are the biggest predictors of this. So that's kind of the arc from preschool all the way up to college. So now I want to scoot back to preschool because that's kind of what this is about, that education really begins in preschool. And it actually begins before that, as Anne Fernald. It begins at birth. So this is a study that initially looked at, without any intervention, children in low SES families, that's the line in pink, and high SES families. So no special intervention. These are children going to preschool. And this is their math ability. So as you can see, even at age 3, there's a difference between these two groups of children, and it increases as time goes by. What's nice about this is that there's a red line on here as well, and this red line represents the change in children's ability when there is a math intervention. So as you can see, the low-income children who have a math intervention on the red line can pretty much close the achievement gap. So now I want to move from research to approaches, and some of these are actually in this county, which has just been wonderful for me because I get to see this. And the first I want to talk about is the Early Learning Mathematics Initiative, and Kim Bambao, who's right back there, heads this up here. And you can clap. It's good. She's going to shoot me afterwards for doing that. So these are professional learning communities, and as you can see, and everyone prior to me has talked about this, what's really important about this is that you not only get teachers within the same grade talking to each other in these professional learning communities, but there's also vertical dialogue as well. So the preschool teachers are talking to the TK teachers, talking to the kindergarten teachers, all the way up to 3rd grade, and everyone's in the same room. And this really makes a big difference. They have a shared purpose, a shared vision, shared collective commitment, and shared goals. This is a survey from the end of year 2 for cohort 2. So it's kind of hard to see the legend there, but basically the bottom part of the bar in purple, the answer is a lot. The next one up is quite a bit, a little, and not at all. And the question was, choose a word or phrase that best describes how much you learned about each of the topics listed below. And as you can see, they learned a lot about Common Core, the standards for mathematical practices, the mathematics learning progressions, and Math Talks and formative assessments. So they really learn a lot in this, and they learn it all together. This is a program, I don't think that it's been in San Mateo County, but it's been in some parts of California, it's been in New York, it's been in many states. It's called Building Blocks, and it was created by Doug Clements and Julie Sarama. So Building Blocks is one of 3 evidence-based preschool curricula, and what the researchers noticed was that they could do this wonderful job in preschool. They could have this amazing math intervention. The children make those great gains that you saw on a slide before. And then they go on to kindergarten classrooms. And what happens in the kindergarten classrooms is that those kindergarten teachers are not aware of what the children know. And they start where they always start in kindergarten. But yet these children who come from these amazing preschool programs are already way ahead of that beginning spot in kindergarten, and so they don't make any gains in kindergarten. So what they decided to do was to notify the kindergarten teachers of where those children are, have them talk to the pre-K teachers. Wouldn't that be an amazing idea? And then have those kindergarten teachers talk to the 1st grade teachers. And so they called this project that they did Building Blocks plus Follow-Through. So the children in pre-K got the Building Blocks curriculum, and the teachers got PD for it. And then there was follow-through for the K and 1st grade teachers, which included conveying what children learned in pre-K and K, professional development on math learning trajectories and how to use them for formative assessment, and then the Building Blocks professional development software. Oh, back there. So this graph, it's a little disconcerting to have the two, because I feel like I'm ignoring this side because I just like do it on this side. I'm not ignoring you, it's my right side. So this graph shows 3 different groups of children. The first in pink is control group, so that's just business as usual in the classrooms. The second line is building blocks, so the children in the red line just got building blocks at the pre-K level, and that's it. Their teachers got professional development, but nobody told the kindergarten teachers anything. Then the final group, the building blocks plus follow-through, the blue line, is that group that I just mentioned before, where the teachers in kindergarten, first grade were told, you know, these kids had this special experience and we want to share this with you. And they also get a bit of PD. So this is zooming in, and it's kind of difficult to look at a graph like this and say, so what does that mean? Is that important? Is it not important? Was it a lot? Was it a little? So I thought maybe I should put what percentiles might be represented by these 2 groups. And as you can see, building blocks with the follow-through, so the pre-K, K, and 1, compared to the control group, the business as usual, that would represent a difference of 50th to the 70th percentile. That's pretty big. I don't have to tell anybody in this room that, but probably. And then the building blocks compared to the control, so that's the building blocks just for the pre-K, is 50th to 60th percentile. So this is, you can tell that probably if you're going to make a choice between these 2, you're going to pick the top one. The Early Math Project, Instructional Leaders, this is Deborah Stipek and Megan Franke at Stanford and at UCLA. This is a picture of some of the children that are in one of their studies. So this is a pre-K to 3rd professional development, including summer institutes, 4 days, workshops, cross-classroom observations, and it prepares educators to serve in effective instructional leadership roles. It promotes good programmatic connections between pre-K and K through 3, so everyone's talking together, and it provides knowledge about effective strategies for improving math instruction. So as you can see, this is both content and pedagogy, so it's both combined. So take-home messages. The first is that if you can intervene early, right? The gap is much smaller early. I mean, you can see that with Dr. Finald's work and the researchers that I presented here. Also that pre-K is a foundation for all later mathematical knowledge. It really begins with counting. If you wait until later on, 3rd grade, you're going to be playing catch-up. And it's just much easier early on. And communication between pre-K and the rest of the grades and K and 1 and 2 is really, really important. So this is just a slide to show that beginning in those early years is much, much easier than doing it at the end when the gap has widened. So thank you.